Hey, hello there. It's time for a new video because I've been busy with making a redraw. That is something that I wanted to do for a long time, but I didn't have the time, and I thought it was a good idea to do that for a video for my Patreon. Um, yeah, so what did I want to do? What is a redraw? A redraw is that you take an old piece of art and you do something new with it. You make a new version or you change some things, right? So that you can see how much you've improved or, yeah, what your new thing is. So, yeah, I wanted to try that. So, yeah, welcome to my first ever redraw. Piece of art did I choose for this? It's an old art piece from 2006. Um, that's almost 20 years ago, right? Well, I mean, it's 18 years ago, so for me, almost 20 years. And that sounds like a lot. I'm becoming old. Oh no. Yeah, well, why did I choose this piece? I thought it was an interesting design for the time that I had, because in 2006 I was almost 20, right? And I had a lot of other designs that were a bit boring, so if it was interesting enough to do a redraw for. Um, and back at those days, I used a lot of watercolors and pens for my art because I didn't have a lot of supplies at home. I just started living on my own in 2006, so that's all I had and all I've been using, I think, for those years. So yeah, that's why why this piece is like that. Um, if you want to take a look more up close, then here's what you can see. I couldn't find the old scan anymore on my PC or on my server actually. So that's why it's a bit pixely. I took this from DeviantArt. I downloaded that there. As you can see, even though I thought the design of the character was a bit interesting, it has a lot of flaws in both the anatomy and the composition and mm, well, the colors, etc. I mean, it's not as great. I mean, I was just, I made art for like 4 years then, so it wasn't that good. And that's the bottom part of it. As you can see, I was a bit into these frills and at the end of the skirt. I think that was my most detailed part here. So what did I do to make the redraw? Well, I started drawing a fresh design. So I improved the design a bit, and for that I just made a flat reference drawing of the character, and I added some details. Maybe it became a little bit more detailed or even too detailed. But yeah, that's what it became. I thought, I could make it a bit more epic looking because this is a fancy character. Well, I mean, it's fitting the theme, I suppose. Also because he's high up in the trees or something, so I wanted to have it give it a bit more of a dynamic flow. Um, And after making the reference sketch, what I did is I first actually made some of the thumbnails. That's usually what I do when I make bigger art pieces to check what I like, what kind of composition I want to do, etc. And fun fact is that I actually made the sketch on a train while I was traveling home. And we arrived at a station and I had to switch to another train. But I forgot that we were actually there. So when everybody was getting out of the train, I kept drawing and then suddenly I was shocked, like, oh, I became aware that everyone was going away. So I had to run. But luckily I had enough time to actually go to the new train. Yes, and those are the very simple thumbnails. To be honest, usually they're more detailed, but as I said, I was in a train, so sketching was a bit harder. Ultimately, I think I could have also chosen to make the paper, the piece, the art piece, in a landscape mode instead of portrait. Because of the landscape that is behind the character, and to make it a bit more, dynamic. Maybe that's something later to do. So here's the finished piece, just for a few seconds, and I will start the time lapse that I recorded on my iPad, because I drew this with Clip Studio Paint on my iPad. And what you can see here is that I made some changes, right? So one of the few changes I already talked about was the dynamic flow of the pose. So I drew the skirt with a bit of, wind below it, and part of that, clothing that she has over it. I have no idea how I should call it. It's flowing onto the left, make it a bit higher. Um, I try to, yeah, improve the anatomy. So what you can see here is that I made the boots and the legs a bit more of a normal size. I try to keep the idea and the style a bit the same. So it has lines and it's still a bit of a anime style. Um, and I kept some of the parts, like the flowy lines that are attached to the arm warmers or whatever I should call it. And the symbolic accessories that have this reference to fall/autumn. Um, but otherwise, I changed some things around, like she has a bit of a a bit of a different hair now. It's still long, still the same color. But she has a headband. She has elf ears. She has a braid to the side, and some accessories on that. Um, yeah, I added some details for more reference to this fall like decoration theme of it. So I added leaves and a bit more of the detail of the staff she's holding, and I changed the position of the bird uh, to above her to sort of emphasize the height that they're on. Right, they're sort of up in the sky, so the birds can catch the wind, and I thought it was a bit more epic. And as you can see, the first part, I'm just drawing the lines and seeing if I like it and see if it actually works together. And then I waited for some days and I changed things around. So that's what you can see right now is I changed the position of that clothing part left, and actually one of the folds just below her waist, and then other background elements such as the tree, and possibly right now some leaves, yeah, and some wind on that. And after that, I think I also started with the background as well. Right, so I changed some details on the staff, as you can see. To be honest, I think when I finished this, some of the parts had too many details. I didn't like it as much anymore. That also has to do with the lines. That some could have been thicker and some parts could have been thinner, but that's fine. Uh, that's what you learn from, right? Here's something that, yeah, you can see I added the background and I changed some things around with the legs. And I'm just looking for the right colors because I did want to keep that sort of same vibe that the old art piece had. And yeah, so you see me painting now here in Clip Studio Paint with either watercolor brushes or oil paint brushes. But I think it's a bit of a mix, right? So yeah, same for the leaves. I want to keep the same sort of color. So now and then you see me watching the old art piece as a reference to see if it sort of has the same color. I do keep in mind that I will change some of the lighting and shadow later on. So this is just like the flat colors. Um, so that it will be a bit different in the end, of course. Right, we're sort of halfway, I think. And now you can see me adding the base colors and seeing what works. Because I do think that the original piece, the some of the colors were too dark, some of the colors were a bit too light. Um, so I wanted to keep the same colors, but improve on it. So one of the things that I think is interesting is that what I see people do often is that they use the selection tool and then you know, the bucket to fill the colors in. Um, and one of the things that I like to do, and also is part of the style that I like, is that I use the brushes all the time. So I use water brushes slash oil paint brushes um, for filling it in because I can sort of keep the background below it and make it a bit transparent if I don't press too much. And I think that gives it a bit more of a painterly style to it. Um, but yeah, of course, you can still do that when you fill things up, but it feels to me like that's double work. And sometimes these kind of brushes don't really blend as well when there's already color on it. So I like to do it this way. And then, if I don't like the background or some parts are too light, I will change that around so it does less time for me. You see me here changing things with the eyes, which I think is quite important, of course, for the character. Yeah, and this is just, again, flat color, so I'm going to add light and shadow after that, and maybe change some of the colors of the light, etc. Right here, you can already see I did it on the staff just because I liked to give it already a bit of an accent. Adding the colors of bird here, which is, Um, I think the bird in the original art piece was a bit gray. And what I did like is to balance out the color a bit. So I made a bit of the color of that, that um, that clothing piece to the left. I guess it sort of has the same vibe with a sort of tail lying down. So yeah, and a bit of a red hue to it. Right, you can already see I'm sort of trying to make shadows here, which I actually had a bit of a hard time with because I was hoping to have a bit more of a harsh lighting. Um, I didn't do that in the end. I think I do have a little bit of accent, of a faraway sun, having a bit of a sunset vibe or something, but not too much. Funnily enough, in the end, because we're almost finished here anyway, is that when I take a look at it now, I don't feel it is like my current style. I feel like I sort of try to mix what I did with what I like now. So especially the theme, right? So the content of it is just what is it, an anime fantasy character, which is not super interesting to me. Um, you know, although of course I do like anime series and fantasy themes. Um, but I'm a bit more into emotional, emotive themes nowadays. And so it was, I did this just for the redrawing and to see how much I've improved skill-wise, anatomy-wise. So that's why I did it. Yeah, you can see me here to lying to the landscape and the tree. And there's already light and shadow on the character, changing things around a bit. Um, how much time do we still have? I think about some minutes. It's actually quite longer than I thought. Like it's 10 minutes or so. Um, yeah, and some things I would change around. Like I would emphasize the lines a bit more and make them figure in certain places to, um, yeah, to make it a bit more readable in a visual way, if that makes sense. Yeah, because it has so much detail that maybe you don't know where to look, and I don't really like that as much. Although I sometimes also like detail, so it's a bit dull. But that's something I would change around the second time. I'm also not super happy with her face. There's, I mean, I try to do the view, uh, switch the angle or um, mirror the image to see what I could change, and it looked okay when I mirrored it, but I'm still not super happy with it. So I would change the eyes around as well, and the face in general. Like I don't really like her, the way she's looking. It's a bit boring, but that's also a part that I wanted to keep because of the old art piece. I wanted to make it a bit the same. So there you go. Right. So thank you for watching and hope to see you next time.